good morning, good evening, good night. Wherever you are in the world, whatever applies to you. Multi-passionism? Is that even a word? Picking a thing and sticking to it is not it. I get it, it sounds flaky, it sounds like you're not really, you have commitment issues, but
The woman was too
in
stunned
a
to
toxic
speak.
relationship, if you do not like your job, if you don't like a hobby, it's okay to drop it. You shouldn't have to spend years and years of your life convincing yourself that you like something just because of the fact that you need to stick to one thing and one thing only. That shit's, don't do that to yourself. Whenever people think of passion, they think of something that you're very, very good at, right? And in order to be multi-passionate, you should be good at many, many things. The thing is, multi-passionate, I think, goes in hand with curiosity. Goes hand in hand with curiosity. If you're curious and a curious individual, you will most likely be a multi-passionate person. One day you really like journaling and you always like journaling, but you also like dancing, you also like drawing. You know, all of these things are allowed to coexist as in one, because at the end of the day, they are coexisting within your capacity, and the only person that can determine the capacity as to how many passions you can have is you, no one else. If people are telling you that it's not realistic or that it's a waste of time, whose time are you wasting? Your own. So why do they care? I'm very, like, it pisses me off because when you're growing up and people around you are telling you stick to one thing, stick to one thing, stick to one thing, and you feel bad for being passionate about multiple things at the same time, it really stifles your creativity and the way that your life is going. You know, I liked so many things, and not to toot my own horn, but I wasn't bad at any of them. I wasn't a master, but I also wasn't like bad. So I guess you could call me like a jack of all trades. Yeah. Sorry guys, my bang is kind of my bangs, I honestly don't have a good relationship with my bangs. Yeah. And then I wrote, in a world where categories and efficiency go hand in hand, the last thing we should organize is people's personalities. Boring. So this goes hand in hand with the idea that in today's time, it's easier to flourish if you are a singular entity. And what I mean by that is that you present yourself as a single entity with a single personality. It's very, very, very hard for people to present themselves as a multi-passionate person because this society doesn't allow it to happen. Whenever you are capitalizing off of a person's creativity, it's very easy to capitalize off of a singular method of creativity. Follow me, follow me. So when a person niches, or when a person's personality is niched down to one thing, so let's say, you know, you meet girlies and they're like, oh my god, what's your aesthetic? And they're like, oh, I'm like a goth girl aesthetic, or like, oh, like I'm coquette, or like, oh, like I'm the baddie aesthetic. You're very marketable at that point. Whenever you put a label on yourself that basically tries to get everything at once, you're a very marketable person. And if you're a marketable person, you flourish in the capitalistic society, because capitalism very much flourishes on efficiency. And if you have one singular entity that basically determines how you are and who you look like, who you are, your likes, all these things, it's very easy to categorize you, and therefore it's very easy to market towards you, and therefore it's very easy to get you to create certain specific things or to consume certain things, right? The thing is when you're a person that's multi-passionate, it's very difficult to box you in. As an individual like that, that's why I have struggled so much with trying to come up with a niche for my YouTube channel, or a category, or some type of topic that unifies my content. People aren't like that. People are multi-personalities. They have multiple passions, they have multiple hobbies, they exist as multiple things. But yeah, this whole idea of niches and trying to fit into a category is just a bunch of BS, in my opinion. We're all people. We are all people. You were never meant to categorize a person. That's why I feel like people who are very much not online have some of the most interesting personalities, but it's because they come up with what they like from their own head. They don't try to fit an aesthetic. They don't try to fit a box. They don't try to follow a trend. They just do what they want to do because that's what they want to do. Quite simple as that. My last point that I was trying to get at, it's written right here, is basically saying, fuck that. You literally have one life. Allow yourself the freedom of curiosity. You don't have to keep pushing. Maybe it was a random urge. There's no shame in trying. I had a conversation with my friend, one of my like best friends. I love her, I love her, I love her. Melissa, you have my heart. You have my heart. You know, we were talking about it and she's like, Susan, it's just like, Susan's my first name. My channel name is Ailyn, but it's because it's my middle name. So yeah. So like I go by both. But she's like, yeah, you know, like you just try everything. You just get the stuff, you try it, and if you don't like it, you leave it alone. And I'm like, yeah. I used to think that's like a very big weakness. So she tells me, you know, you always just try things. You have like such like hobbies and things that you just want to try, and you do it without like a worry, and if it just doesn't work, then you just leave it alone, and if you want to do it again, you come back to it. And she's like, you know, like that's really cool. And I was like, that is. I always saw that as a commitment issue type of thing, but like if I try something and I like it, then I'm gonna keep going. Now if I try something and I don't like it, I'm gonna obviously stop. If I like something, I'm gonna keep going, but if I drop it because of like self-doubt, then that's just another video conversation. We can take that somewhere else. But yeah, you know, the idea of being able to just pick something up out of curiosity and be able to commit time to it without any expectation of a result or any expectation of a tangible like profit is okay. I feel like nowadays people believe that every little thing that you do has to have a profit, has to have a result, has to have something tangible in order to have any worth. You can just color and color. If you put your eggs in too many baskets, then that is seen as unwise. The thing is, that's seen as unwise as to people who believe that that's not efficient. But the thing is, when you're exploring hobbies and when you're living your life and when you're a human, nothing was ever really about efficiency to begin with. All in all, I'm saying that being multi-passionate is realistic if you allow it to be so. Don't let other people's limitations on what is realistic determine what's realistic for you, because at the end of the day, realism is just a perception. You can be a person who has multiple passions, multiple hobbies, then you can be that, because at the end of the day, the person that's controlling that narrative is you, not anyone else. Don't let anyone else do that. That's just a bunch of BS. You're too young. You're too lit. You're too young, you're too lit, and you're too cool to be tied down to one singular or two singular things that can be a personality or passion. You are allowed to live your life the way that you want to. Me, I pick up video editing and I like it. The only thing that I hate is the fact that it takes forever to edit. But at the end of the day, I keep coming back to it for a reason. I keep coming back to recording videos for a reason. I keep coming back to reading for a reason. I will never allow someone to tell me that my passions are a waste of time, because at the end of the day, the only time I am wasting is my own. So it shouldn't bother you, and if it does, it's you have too much time on your hands and you're paying too much attention to me. If someone is calling you out saying that you're wasting your time, they have too much time on their hands and they should get some passions, because if they have enough time to look at you and say and judge you, then obviously that's a sign that they should get some passions of their own. So mic drop. Being multi-passionate is not bad. Honestly, it's the quite opposite of bad. It's very admirable. You have the energy and you have the grind and the grit to just allow yourself curiosity. I don't understand why that was ever a bad thing. Dude, you have a lot of years. You have a lot of time. You can come up with how you want to use that time. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really, really appreciate it. I'm like trying to get my thumbnail.